This is the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and hitting subscribe on your friend's phone without them knowing. Coming to you from the kitchen studios in downtown Raleigh. This episode is sponsored in part by Joe Van Gogh Coffee, serving the community from seed to cup, taking particular care at every step to honor the bean. And now, if they were a barbecue plate, they'd be brisket and pork butt. It's Max Trujillo and Matthew Weiss.
Hello, and welcome to a special episode of the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your host, Max Trujillo, and this week, we took the show on the road. That's right, we ventured to Peachland, North Carolina, to visit John G's Barbecue. And on this journey, I hopped in the SUV with former guest, good buddy, and recurring guest host of the show, Kyle Sutton of Bestow Baked Goods. This was Kyle's brainchild of an episode, which was a thoughtfully planned out tailgate party in anticipation of enjoying some of the best brisket the state has to offer, John G's Barbecue. Along for the ride are fellow barbecue enthusiasts Curtis Bradley and Luke Minogue, who added some great content for the trip. Matthew Weiss sadly was unable to attend, so we saved him some brisket on our journey back home. What I found to be really interesting is this tailgate. A tailgate at a North Carolina barbecue joint is kind of a slice of Americana that most people are unaware of. Kyle did more than enough by assembling one of the greatest tailgates I've ever been to, which included breakfast dishes like Memphis-style dry-rubbed smoked wings, a savory bread pudding, brownies, cold brew that may or may not have had some bourbon nearby. And because he's a professional, he knew there'd be a lot of other people showing up for this tailgate, just other people he didn't know, he actually brought enough of this food to share with dozens and dozens of people. And they did. Everybody showed up to the back of his car and helped themselves to pre-barbecue food before barbecue opened up later on, I believe at 11 o'clock. This episode, available both as an audio podcast and on our YouTube station, takes you behind the scenes of what a master at the helm of his craft, John G., or better known as Garen Kirkman, has to achieve while being one of the greatest in this game. Garen himself joined up with us around 8 a.m. when we arrived to discuss his craft and how he created John G's Barbecue. We'll get into the celebrity wedding he catered, his type of smoker of choice, his wood choice. Heck, we even talk about his favorite salt and pepper he uses. There's a lot of fun barbecue nerd talk, so sit back and let the smoke fill your ears. Take it away, Kyle.
We're at John G's Barbecue down in Peachland, North Carolina, with Garen here. Only open Saturdays. They open at 11. We got here at 8 o'clock to tailgate and hang out until they open, and then smash all the barbecue. That's why we're here.
Yeah, it's the goal.
How long have you been open?
Established in 2016, but we bought this building February 2020. So we opened about, I think it was June of that year too, peak COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were serving out the food trailer over here. And
I've been saying this though for years since COVID's happened though, but like COVID was kind of the best thing that could happen to barbecue.
It definitely helped us.
Right?
I mean, everybody's sitting over in Charlotte kind of trapped in. And
barbecue has been jamming.
Yeah.
It has been jamming in general, but it did not slow down when COVID hit.
It's true. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's outdoor, it's, communal, but you can take it to go. It's just as good, take it home as it is in the moment, it's just about getting outside.
Heck yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, get some fresh air.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'm excited. This is going to be fun. So we woke up at, I woke up at 5, and Kyle hasn't slept.
I didn't sleep, man. Just taking I'm a kid. I'm like, I'll sleep later. It's Christmas.
That's right.
And we have a very tight-knit crew with us over here as well. These guys, get over here, gents. But
come on over
we
here.
got Curtis and Luke over here. Who are also
already slamming cake in the morning.
Yeah, already. You start, as Luke mentioned, when he goes to a cookout, he starts at the dessert tray.
Yeah, I just did.
Because why? Because you're concerned that.
Well, what I tell people is because, I want to get to the dessert before the kids hit it, but the truth is, I don't want to get sick from all the other stuff people made and all these.
Yeah, you can't trust that people know what they're doing in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah,
the desserts are safe.
Luke is very concerned with the temperature, so we have the camper today just for Luke to keep it from being safe and warm.
Yeah. And we ran over.
hours.
Curtis brought us up to speed with generations of barbecue cooking from your, was it grand uncle?
My granduncle to my grandfather to my other grandfather, all of them gave me different recipes. They gave me a baseline and they just said, hey, run with it. As long as it's good, we don't mind.
That's it.
That's awesome. So,
Hey, just for your viewers that are seeing this and not just listening, I am a normal sized person.
He's wet. He's white.
Right now,
both
these guys are
Luke's
towering
6'2". These guys are just 7'1".
Giants walking among us.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's great. All right, well let's get into it. We're gonna shut it down. We're gonna eat some food. We'll come back.
Get some places where people can eat. But
Yeah. So you built this
yeah.
exterior patio and.
So this 500 is
Is that a pit fire or?
Yep. All set. So fire. So this been
500
about
gallons.
10 was what we started on the Southern Range Brew in Minogue. Yeah, man, they have that cone out of the way, it's in the way. But yeah, man, that's the start of John G's. That went to the Bennifer wedding.
Wow.
We gotta hear about that, man. We've not told that story. I want to hear about the Bennifer wedding.
Yeah, man. Gotta watch right there on camera on that one.
Uh-oh. Oh, the better.
NDA, so no surprise that we went
Yeah.
and everything. But yeah, I don't want to throw out too many details.
Nah, really not, man. The highest level, the most details you can share about getting in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We were there. That's about all they want us to say.
That's cool. But yeah, people will. They'll pay good money for good barbecue.
They definitely
Well, those people in particular probably laughed at our invoice because we didn't know who they were. But I'm not going to gouge anybody to begin with.
Yeah.
But I bet we're the cheapest invoice all weekend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, by far and large. They called us up and just said, "Hey, we got some A-list celebrities." And, okay, whatever, normal people, you know.
Yeah.
And we found out like 2 weeks before that's who it was, and it was fun, man. It was definitely one of those points where you're like, this is kind of surreal, and how we're gonna top this.
Am I doing this?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, normal wedding. You know, no paparazzi in their face. I mean, just normal people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. J-Lo.
The Bennifer.
Yeah.
J-Lo and Georgia.
That's the way it's called.
Bennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That correct me up on the message. They called it Philo instead of, yeah.
Not people I would expect to serve barbecue by default. If I'm making a list of what they're going to serve their wedding, I'm not making beef ribs, brisket, or like, I know nothing.
Thanks, Trinity, man.
But that's
12% more.
Right.
Already on the fritz, so I'm not going to do it again. According to the tabloids.
all right. So what else do you have? So this is a trailer. This is a refrigerator trailer.
Yeah, refrigerated trailer. This upped our volume by and large.
Yeah, you had to set that up because I mean, you guys
I like
you have
everything
a
that
lineup.
way in case it hits the fan, we can just pull out and leave, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I'm still not convinced we're going to make it yet.
State troopers come.
Yeah.
Smokies on your tail.
No, man.
Yeah.
Hitch on everything, ready to go.
Um,
But yeah, we picked this thing up in Jacksonville.
so what's the what are you currently? So this was the original smoker you're doing here. That's a 500 gallon. It looks like. But you're clearly doing more barbecue than that. So
when I first started in North Carolina, man, it depends on your health department to govern who, dictates what you do and whatnot. So you go one county over, they're super strict.
yeah.
So we had bought a J&R roller, and I make barbecue from a lot of places, and it's always got like the roller taste. So I flew down to Texas, Mesquite, Texas, to the J&R facility. They got a big test kitchen, test cooked on it. I was like, hey, I can work with this. Bought that pit before we even bought the restaurant because our pop-ups were bringing that kind of volume. But I think, once you can make every pit kind of taste the same, I mean, that's not always going to be possible. But as long as you're running like live fire, keeping that fire burning, not just smoldering, we've managed to make it taste the same on both pits now. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've also got BBQ over there too now, so more things to come on that.
More whole hog in the future, perhaps?
I don't know about whole hog, but some really good chicken maybe.
Okay.
I like Gary Bennett's nose. I'm infatuated with their chicken. So
So just to frame it for those that haven't been to John D's, but you're primarily brisket first, right?
definitely brisket.
That's what
our
you
number one protein.
kind of hang your hat on. That's what you do. So where did that skill come from, and where did you decide that's what you wanted to do?
In Charlotte, in like 2009, I had a bite of brisket, and I was just like, I grew up beef farming around North Carolina, showing cattle, livestock fairs, the whole nine. I don't know. I guess that resonated when I took my first bite of brisket, because I had grown up on fire department chicken and pork my whole life.
Sure.
And it's like, man, this is like another level right here, So pondered on that for 2 years. Went out and bought the cheap offset smoker, cheap brisket, crashed it, got addicted to it. 5 years later, we finally did our first pop up. So yeah.
That's awesome. But this wasn't like a long lineage of family that had been doing barbecue?
Not at all. No. My mom's side of the family does do pig pickings for the family reunion every year. But yeah, nobody's ever shown me how to do it. It was all trial and error. And that was pre-YouTube days too, a little bit, I mean, if you go online and read, man, I was dicing the fat cap, 25 seasonings, put in the fridge, saran wrapped overnight, just throwing everything at it. Now I got 4 ingredients in it.
Isn't that the funniest part? When you start, you think it's going to be super complicated, so you expect to do everything.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about making brisket. I'm talking about, I don't know, doing your taxes or anything. You're trying to do things that are seemingly easy or seemingly complicated, but in the end, it's simple.
Yeah.
And now that you've got to the point where, you might not say it, but we'll say it. You've mastered your barbecue. I'm sure every day you're trying to do more, trying to
get better.
But at the point where you get a line out the door and people are spending a lot of money on your brisket, I consider that a success.
When Daniel Vaughn of Texas Weekly calls you the best Texas barbecue in North Carolina, that's an indication you're doing something right.
Yeah, but
looking at J-Lo's
right.
That's an indicator.
It's an indicator. So, actually, I like this framing a little bit though. But no, you stay there. But you guys get a little tighter so we can actually get some guys in this shot. But so you're okay. So you've been doing this for a few years now. You didn't come from a lineage of doing this. This was a little pre-YouTube. You're saying as well. I was just kidding with the guys that in a week I learned how to make pizza. Hey, how about that? Now I'm a master. It's no big deal. I'm pretty good at it now. But it is kind of amazing what you can learn from a few books and a couple of tutorials. But explain to me more about the process of now you're doing it. So how long did it take to go from this high level of complication to simplification?
Probably a few years. You're just constantly in that mindset of more is better. Throwing every secret. Everybody's got a secret sauce or whatnot. You just think it's something super complicated. I'd say, I don't know. In 2016, it was pretty simplified. It was rough edges. Crispy ends we had to deal with. Meat quality. We've switched up a few times, but we've been on Meyer Natural for years now. Going back to the Daniel Vaughn interview kind of thing, I learned that Franklin actually used to use Meyer back in the day. Had no clue of that until last 2 years ago. But anyway. But yeah, super good beef. Going back to farming, I grew up Hereford cattle. Certified Hereford beef, tried to get us, and every time I'm just like, man, just don't pack the beefy flavor that this Meyer Natural does. And it's actually local harvest, so it's sourced from North Carolina, Pennsylvania, close by.
Now, do you have you say what we call in the fancy side of the business, staged with other cooks, pit guys?
Not at all.
By the way, what do you call it? We've been talking about this before. Barbecue chefs. Pitmaster sounds like an antiquated term. We don't like that term that much anymore. So, what do you call yourself?
Oh, man.
Do you have a term for...
I think my business card still says firekeeper.
Firekeeper.
Yeah. That seems to be the trend. Fire maker.
Firekeeper. I like it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's all you do.
Because you're maintaining it. Yeah.
That's it. Maintaining it.
That's like whether you're making beer or you're doing barbecue. In the end, you realize it's just a lot of custodial work. You're cleaning all day long. You're moving heavy things from one side to the other, and you're just kind of waiting on things. You're just it's
Hurry up and wait.
It's a process, right? Yeah, you can't do anything real quick. But so you didn't go to Franklin Barbecue and like do a weekend or a month or
Not at
whatever,
all, man.
like
Went there and
a lot of chefs will do. They're like, I'm gonna go stage at El Bulli in France, or I mean in Spain for a summer, and then I'm gonna come back and open my own place. But that's not really what's happening here.
Not the way we did it. Purely just riding around eating barbecue like it was our job in Texas.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out who's doing what I like better, and all that kind of stuff.
So what were some of the standouts in Texas?
Oh man,
When
of
you
course, the Franklin, the Snows,
Sure.
the Valentina's, Truth. Can't say enough good about Truth.
Truth, man. I had that in Charleston. I think you had told me, Kyle, you had mentioned, you're like, you should try Truth. And it was the day that I was at the Charleston Food and Wine, and I looked in front of me, and there literally was the Truth stand. Like, the guys were chopping up brisket right in front of me. I go, oh, you mean the people that are standing right in front of me? That's the ones I should try?
Yeah.
Like, all right, now let's do that right now.
That's the one. Everybody's got like a standout dish though, like Louis Mueller beef rib.
Yeah.
That, whether it's the place or the experience or whatnot, man, that beef rib is the pinnacle. Going down to 2M Smokehouse, San Antonio. I mean, their sausage, the macaroni with chicharrones on top. I mean, stuff like that, man, just sticks out. The brisket fried rice, man, that we talked about, Blood Brothers in Houston. I knew as soon as I tasted that, I was like, man, I gotta do some variant of that. I mean, I feel like every culinary experience is inspired from what you've ate, experience in the past, or the family lineage. Purely just like it, it's all stemming from that. So.
Is there any thought, just because we're in North Carolina, and when you say barbecue out loud, you're talking about pork.
Yeah.
So was there just a thought like, I'm going to be the guy that zags when everyone zigs or whatever, and do something different on purpose?
No, not on purpose at all, man. I mean, being from North Carolina, like I said, going to the family reunion, big pickings, but the first piece of meat I ever cooked was brisket. Like,
so yeah,
who else can say that? Just yeah.
But as we were kind of getting into it, you're discussing that you might do other things.
Yeah, definitely. We want to keep it alive. I mean, we don't have that family lineage of whole hog cooking for 100 years. So why not experiment and bring everything to the table? Have a Texas side, North Carolina side, or something. I don't know.
I mean, the timing is
everybody comes together.
I mean, the timing is good because if you look at the definition of barbecue, right? Most people think, Texas barbecue as barbecue, and with the number of transplants we have here, like doing a good brisket and a beef rib, not a bad place to be. Like, I think it's easier to find than like whole hog or pork at this point.
Yeah. Right. So explain to me, Kyle and John, of course, and all you guys, explain to me like what this is as far as this Saturday morning culture of getting up early and going. I mean, Kyle, you set it up like we're going to a Jimmy Buffett concert. Like you've got tables, chairs. You've been cooking all night. You didn't sleep, and I mean it's almost like we were like camping out in front of the MSG to go like see Bruce Springsteen play all weekend long. But I mean, explain to me like the culture of this barbecue journey.
Yeah, I think, to me it's kind of like a hybrid experience, right? So like the tailgating culture is very, very North Carolina. It's Texas to an extent. But like being from East North Carolina, like, man, we will tailgate a funeral. Yeah. So I believe in getting here early. I believe in having my pick of the menu. It's a 2-hour drive. I'm not going to be hungry while I do it. So we pack a tailgate to get lunch. And that's what it is. And so you see places around the state where that idea has caught on. If you look at like Beefmaster in Wilson.
Yeah, Beefmasters.
Common thing, right? We're gonna tailgate dinner. That is the experience. Like, why not do it here? Yeah. So we, we made some food, made some beverage ahead of the food and beverage, like you did.
Yeah, we got out of the car. What did Kyle say he already had prepared for us?
He had smoked wings. He said he had, what was that? What did we just eat?
That
chunky monkey coffee cake or something of that nature.
Yes.
I mean, he had some coffee with some.
In the first 30 seconds on the ground, we've established that we're not going anywhere without Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
You're not going to go hungry. Yes. No other guarantees.
You don't climb Mount Everest without a shaman. It's like you need.
We got in the vehicle and it smells like smoke, and all of us assumed that this is just a residual smell of all the things that you've cooked in the past.
Yeah.
No,
Kyle
he
just
has
it wasn't
a
until
warmer
like 15 minutes
wings.
we got in. He's like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm like, wait a minute.
And I'm like, when did you cook wings? He's like, I got up at 3 and started doing. I'm like, no, I don't know because I was sleeping at 3. But I'm glad you did it. Yeah.
To balance it all out, this is like in keeping the concert parallel. This is like going to see Bruce Springsteen, but then bringing your acoustic guitar and performing songs in the audience, like in the parking lot.
There's
Like,
not going to be a single one.
we're gonna do a couple tracks, we're just gonna like Born in America or
The
whatever.
buffet is open until 10:45. At
You gotta be
10:45
active
is dead.
participants.
Got the tip
Yeah.
jar out.
No, not at all.
Hey,
But so-
it's not
but
a
then-
spectator sport. It's not a spectator sport. You gotta be active participants.
But Garen, even for you, like this. So, what are your hours typically?
So we open the door at 11. Sometimes we're here till 4:30. Sometimes we're out by 2:30. That's like our earliest sellouts.
But is it just one day a week or no? Or you open all
Kinda,
the time?
sorta. Here at the restaurant, yeah, it's one day a week, but we're usually on the food truck in Charlotte, roundabout. Usually on Wednesdays, catering anytime. If it's worthwhile to cook 12 hours plus, we'll cater a meal. We stay busy. I always joke, that one day a week turns into 8 days a week.
Yeah.
One way or another, whether we're cooking or fixing stuff. Yeah.
Because that culture as well, like out in this state, and just barbecue culture, that's a common thing as well. Is that you're only open maybe one day, sometimes two. Like sometimes people will do a Sunday morning too, if they got extra product still left or so. But really, it's just about the Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me back of when I had a Morris barbecue on out there in Hookerton, and the gents out there, they have full-time jobs. One's running a farm, the other one's I think he's like an accountant or something, like not what you would consider barbecue, barbecue culture. But it's like, no, we have regular jobs, and then we start. I think he does some prep on Thursdays, like late at night, and then really it's like an all-day Friday. Friday you're going, and you don't really sleep too much. I mean, I don't know. Tell me what was your Friday schedule to lead you to today?
Oh man, so I guess going back a little bit before that, so the Saturday thing kind of come about because I used to work full time, like you was mentioning.
Yeah.
So I'd literally work Monday through Friday, come home, trim out brisket, cook all through the night. We would set up shop in Monroe and cook, or sell the brisket and meat and all that stuff. Till it was gone, we get up Sunday, clean up, go back to work on Monday. So whereas now, like our typical week is like Monday we're in here making sausage. Tuesday we're usually cooking, prepping for the Wednesday food truck. Then we kind of hit the reset button and start getting ready for Saturday as well. So that's,
So even though you're technically open one day, I mean,
Right.
this is around the week, around the clock schedule.
Usually Sunday off, we
you
did
have
a pop up at Lawrence a few months, or weeks, months ago, whatever it was,
Yeah.
lose track of time.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's always something. Did a pop up with Palmyra in Charleston. It's definitely not just a Saturday gig at all. Like, maybe
Yeah.
here, but yeah.
So how many people would you typically expect on a busy Saturday? Like, what's a success look like to you?
A lot of to-go plates, but there's definitely enough food to feed well over 1,000. Easily. Yeah.
And,
we won't see 1,000 people, but you'll see bags going out of here. They're heavy.
Yeah, well, they're supplying it for their family back
Yeah,
home.
exactly.
Because not everyone's making the
Yeah,
big
you're
trek.
gonna go. You're gonna wait the line. Like, give me something while you're there.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Somebody would be ordering at the counter with a big old list.
Yeah.
Right, Brian on that one.
Well, and not to talk about money in front of the person that's selling it or whatever, but barbecue used to be like poor people food. But barbecue's not cheap any longer. Also, that's a product of how expensive everything's just kind of going up.
Yeah.
Brisket used to be a really cheap product to buy. That's why we used brisket.
Yeah.
It's like we weren't gonna slow smoke filet mignon or ribeye. So it's like, let's get the brisket because that's the cheaper product.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's all kind of leveled out.
Yeah.
So brisket's not necessarily inexpensive. So you're selling 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You're probably doing okay on a Saturday.
If I didn't pay the grocery bill, I'd be doing a lot better.
That's cool, man. So then, obviously, Sunday, just like a day of rest. You take that day off as much as possible.
That's the goal, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because this whole environment, and maybe we can even just walk around a little bit too, like this environment is somewhat mobile. You got the smoker, you got the refrigerator, you got everything that's, we're not stuck in one spot. You can kind of do whatever you want. So,
Yeah, I got the food trailer over there.
so this is what you take when you're going out to say like Charlotte or wherever. I'll come over here just because the speakers smoke. But so this is what you're traveling with when you're coming out there.
Yeah.
And
This replaced the 10 by 10 tent we used to use. We got this in probably 2018 after 2 years in the tent. That was just kind of help out with the health department. We were doing TFEs, temporary food establishments.
Okay.
This kind of, we got a commissary so that kind of.
So inside there it's a kitchen inside there.
Yep.
The smokers though, you bring the smoker.
Yep. No, for our pop-ups, we'll cook everything here, put it in warmers, and take it to the location.
Okay. So you're not smoking on site.
Rarely cook on site unless it's a party.
Yeah. Well, and that's also like kind of a cool thing too is the resting. We had Nick Dampf on recently. I don't know if you've ever cooked with Nick or no Nick, but there we go. He's the one that told me, he's like, oh, you really can't rest your meat long enough. I was making some for just some friends with like a bunch of dads. We're going camping with our kids.
Yeah.
And he's like, cook it the day before, finish it, in the afternoon, throw it in a cooler, and have it the next morning for lunch or like an early breakfast, and you're fine. And when we took it out of the cooler, it was wrapped in towels or whatever. We probably had left it for about 15 hours in the brisket, in the cooler. Came out, it was perfect. Like the heat was great. But that was so contrary to what I thought was going to happen. I'm like, no, it's going to get cold, it's going to dry up, it's going to whatever. But no, you can leave it for a good while.
You're getting cooler endorsements off of that.
Seriously, yeah. Right.
That's a long rest.
Yeah. Not sponsored by Yeti yet.
What's Yeti?
But how long would you rest your brisket? What's the thought in your?
We don't make it a restaurant habit by any means, but I've done one for 48 hours.
Wow.
Just one single brisket. Honestly, there wasn't that big of a downfall in it by any means, quality-wise. But here at the restaurant, we'll finish up late last night, allow us to get some sleep, showers, and we'll come in and do the short cook items this morning. So resting's a ticket, man. I mean, I wouldn't say a brisket is any less quality at 3 o'clock versus 11 when we open, if we still have it.
Yeah. So, what in the dining frame? You open at 11, you said, right? And then you're typically done by about.
I'd say 3:30ish on a good average day.
Do that math, Kyle. 1,000 people.
A lot.
That's 4 hours. 1,000. So you're doing about 250 people an hour.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And obviously you're just serving food, and because there's a tailgate, people can, they're drinking their sodas and their sweet teas, whatever they want on their own. Wink, wink. But that's cool. So there is just kind of an open environment to it. Yeah, and people are starting to come in here. I mean, just so people are aware, like it's my watch.
8:47.
My watch says it's 1:30.
Should have got the Apple Watch one.
Probably should have got a better watch.
Looks good.
But it's 8:47. Yeah, so people are starting to roll in, and there's cars that are going to ultimately fill up this entire space out here. Why this spot? Is this home?
So we were never gonna. We really did not plan to open up shop here. We bought this as a commissary for the food truck, so we're just gonna keep on food trucking.
Yeah.
And COVID had other things to say about that, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
So once we established, we're gonna open up. It paved the way down to Peachland for all those Charlotte people that we had been going to for years. So now, although we still go up there, a bunch of them do come down here for the full experience.
Yeah. You're how far away from Charlotte?
You can be in Charlotte in 40-some minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's easy drive, bypass, get you there in no time.
Yeah, and our drive from Holly Springs was 2 hours.
2 hours,
Yeah. So it's a pretty good central spot to be between the two major counties, Mecklenburg and Wake. That's where the lion's share of humans live in this state. So you're doing a good job of keeping people excited about this. I enjoy the idea of having. I mean, you're saying it's Texas barbecue, but I mean it's North Carolina barbecue. You're doing it here.
We're in North Carolina.
So, but I like the expansion that we're going beyond just pulled pork, and we're kind of just if it's delicious, why? There's no rules, right?
That's where I deviate from the regionality thing. If it's good, why not?
I mean, I'll say this. I've eaten a lot of barbecue in Texas. I've hit all the spots in Lockhart, in Austin, Houston. I've eaten all over Texas. At John G's, we've got really phenomenal like beef barbecue, but the pork still slaps. I can't say the pork is really good in Texas. I can't think of pork I've had in Texas. It's blown my mind.
It's interesting because most people start with pork because it's so forgiving. Right. There's so much fat and flavor in pork. It's hard to mess up. Yeah. And if you do mess it up, throw some sauce on it, and you're winning. But brisket, there's a couple reasons why. It's expensive. If you mess up a brisket, you know it. And it's easy to dry out, but it's usually what you work your way to after you've already got pork and you're feeling confident. So it's interesting to me that you started with that because you probably didn't know, but you started with the hardest thing. Yeah. But you've obviously perfected it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and you two guys are no slouch. Well, all three of you are no slouches when it comes to it, because you all have done competitive barbecue. You've been in competition. We were talking about all your sauces that you made.
Let's only talk about the good one. I have a good sauce that is an award-winning sauce.
But the thing that I liked is it was very scientific. I mean, you had like 12, 13, 12. And then within the one that was then selected, you made 3 different versions of it so that you could pick it apart even more. So that you got down to, I mean, this is what I want to know. Who has this much free time? I can't make 13 sauces because I got shit to do.
What he missed in the story and he needs to know is I cook this inside my house. So every morning my wife and kids were waking up just their nose and it's like napalm. Right. And so I'm not allowed to cook in the house anymore.
Yeah. That's probably all right though. But
I should have brought some sauce just as, next time. I'll bring some.
It's an excellent sauce. I've got a bottle in my house now.
Yeah, well, you guys are neighbors, so I'm sure you smell it when he's starting to cook out in the area. Yeah. And then, Kurt, yourself, have you done competition as well?
Never done competition. I'm just a backyard guy. I paid attention to both my grandfathers. My grandfather on my dad's side of the family, Granddaddy Ed, every Christmas and every July, he would cook a whole hog. And his rule of thumb was everybody in the community, come on down, you can eat, don't curse in the house, don't be disrespectful to the family. Yeah. So I just learned that very communal aspect of it. And so all my barbecue roots just come from just family, just passed down and just made it my own, and that's what we've done. And as I told you in the car, like I started off with a very basic sauce, and every place that I've gone, I was like, okay, I like this flavor profile, and they had this in here. I like this flavor profile, and they had this in here. Yeah. So now it is what it is. I'd love to get in the bar to competition sooner or later, but it's time.
Right. Well, this guy does.
Yes.
Barely when people call me up.
I will say, in just the conversation in our 2-hour drive, we discussed a lot about food and all. Curtis, both of you were blowing my mind about. It's not just about barbecue. It's not just about eating pork and beef. I mean, we were talking about like some really like exotic foods. You're talking about curried goat. Different places you're eating, you were talking about, and then you and I, we start talking
I had to one up that.
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't trying to one up it.
In a big way.
But you ate cobra?
I ate cobra.
You didn't drink the blood of the cobra because you drew the line.
I'm just not going to drink blood. That's where I draw the line.
But you said what happened after you ate the cobra?
So it gives you an adrenaline rush. It does. I don't know why, but it gives you kind of an adrenaline rush. So if you ever get a chance to eat cooked cobra, try it out. And
all those options. Yeah.
Then we were eating owl and monkey. And
you ate monkey ribs.
I did. And they taste really good.
You went back for a second. So.
And thirds. And then I noticed that the locals weren't eating monkey rib, and I'm like, this is so good. Why are they not eating monkey rib? Do you know why? Why? The guy goes, because it makes you smell like monkey. I would say, wait, what do you mean it makes you smell like monkey? He goes, when you eat the monkey ribs, you smell like monkey. And when I went to bed that night, I found out what he's talking about. 2 showers later, I still smell like
always
a monkey.
Always pay attention to the locals. If you're not eating it, I'm not eating it. So.
The smell would be the least of my concerns eating monkey. It's so close to human flesh.
I didn't think about that.
What if I really like it?
But
I have to make some changes though.
I think if you ate human flesh, it would smell like a human.
Wait, there's no monkey in your chunky monkey bread?
Not at all. But maybe the next version.
Let's take a quick pause to talk about Dahmer. Airing on Netflix. Season 2. Wow.
So, Garrett, you said something earlier about this transition from one brisket to several briskets, right? So you see a lot of like backyard barbecue guys, and they crush one brisket, but it's really tough to do that for 1,000 people. How did you make that transition?
Oh yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, man, I hate to even say this live, but like every brisket's not exactly what I want it to be to this day, because we're fighting the animal literally every brisket is not perfect. I can do what I do to it, but you start, you get what you get.
It has a crazy ribbon of fat. It's not supposed to be
Right.
there. You can't do anything about it.
Sometimes you put in a brisket, you're like, oh my God, like I hope somebody really, enjoys this for what it is. Whereas but in business, like you can't. At first I tried to, and I literally throw a bunch of brisket in the trash, and we come up with sandwiches like porky bee. That throws some pork back into the brisket, adds some sauce, brightens it up a little bit. I mean, yeah. So we had to figure out a way to use that brisket. Does that kind of get where I'm trying to go with it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, just the idea, like you can baby one brisket, right? You can trim it just so you can rest it 48 hours,
right?
But you can't do that.
Yeah.
At scale.
Yeah.
So how do you get over the hump of getting out consistent? And you do. Like I've had your brisket 3 times now.
Yeah.
It's been very consistent.
Consistency is the key. Yeah. I mean, man, we just do it. I guess once you do it for so long, it kind of helps that out a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And so in terms of like training on the process, right? Trimming a brisket, very nuanced, very subjective.
Yeah.
How are you training your guys to get to a consistent trim?
Man, again, we're up against so much on that. We pull them out of the cryo, and just like the backyard guys show at home, man, that coming from the butcher, like there'll be huge gashes, nicks. I mean, again, it's not all perfect, but we just had to do what we do, stay to the course, and in the end, we do pretty good, I guess. I mean, that's kind of a weird answer.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
but that's a good point that you bring up because everybody that makes a brisket at home and feels like they do a good job with their brisket, they're making one.
You do one.
Yeah, and
you can crush one brisket.
You can crush one, and and you're taking so much time and effort, and even just the breakdown of it, and the trimming, all of that is pretty labor intensive, and it's going to take hours to do. So, if you're going to serve 1,000 people, I mean, that begs the question: how many briskets do you think you typically throw on the smoker?
Typically 30 to 40ish, just in brisket. Of course, we've got the bacon burn-ins, we've got the pork, we've got the ribs. We got the beef ribs and sides. We're super side heavy. That definitely, we're not a typical barbecue joint. I don't want to throw anybody on the bus, but some guys, focus purely on the meat. I like the restaurants where I go where everything was slamming. So
the side dishes are where it's at, man.
Right,
and it's so true. Like it's not a line. Like the sides are ridiculous. What's the dessert you do? It's like
just the fruit crunch.
The crunch.
Yeah.
You never had it before.
Yeah. Just something simple it's kind of a pie, with oatmeal, flour, sugar, butter, typical good stuff. Just kind of something to kind of round out your meal. Walk away just with a little sweet tooth. I
mean, the mac and cheese hits, the elote hits, the fried rice blew my mind.
Yeah.
I've not had anything bad here, man.
There you go.
I'm hungry.
And all those don't sound like typical, they don't sound typical to Texas or North Carolina. It sounds like you're kind of pulling flavors from just what? It just has to taste good, is that it?
Yep, as long as it's good. Going back to, our tours around, their culinary adventures, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I ate it, I'm like, man, this has aspect that I like. What flavor was that?
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah, can I do this?
Yeah, put our spin on it. Never want to straight out copy anybody, but I'm by far and large influenced by a lot of places.
Sure. Well, yeah, no one's truly doing anything original any longer. You're mastering it, and you're doing your spin on it. So that's like we were talking about in the car. You were talking about the sugarcane Hawaiian turducken.
So imagine that.
Right?
And this guy made a turducken with a smoked sausage he'd put inside. He'd smoke the sausage first. He'd debone the duck himself, all that stuff, the chicken, and then sew it all up and smoke it and over Hawaiian sugarcane, which you can't even get.
Yeah. So that's his wood source.
That is
sugar
his wood
cane.
source. That's the only one he uses.
Yeah. So, but if you were going to redo it here, that was kind of my point. Was if you're not going to do it exactly the same way, but if you did your version of it, it might not be the same. It might not be as good. It might be better. It might be just different.
I would try to get some sugar cane, and I would use the same spices he used for sure, and use that sausage on the inside. It'd be close. I'd pull some things from it for sure.
Yeah. You got a turducken coming in for Thanksgiving?
No cobra today on the menu.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, we got any other questions? I mean,
I do got one kind of nervous question. So I know typically when I'm cooking food and everything, I'm constantly eating the same thing. I'm constantly trying to work and tweak it. How do you battle that when you're cooking en masse, things of that nature? You seem like you're a perfectionist and want things to be the best product.
But I think I'm picking up where you're going. Correct me if I'm wrong. We'll try to eat our food, but you lose after so many years of doing it. You lose. I don't taste the smoke like I used to anymore, and that COVID did a number to me too.
Yes.
But we're doing almost the same thing as we were a while back. There might be a little subtle influence or change in there, but it's tough, man. You do the same thing every week to taste it and know you're going the right place. A lot of it's by feel on the cutting board.
Yeah.
I can look at that and be like, okay, this is right. Whether it's how tight it is, how loose it is. A bunch of that for me is based on feel more than actual taste or smell anymore.
Yeah.
Just because we do it every weekend. Is that
that's good? No, yeah, that's exactly right.
So Roy Perez down at Kreitz and Lockhart was talking about that a few years ago, and he said the exact same thing. Hey, I smell this all the time. I've been doing this 30 years. I don't eat it all the time, but every now and again, I'll take brisket and pork rib home to my house, unwrap it in my home, and I get kind of the bouquet of smoke hits me in the face, and I try it. And it's like, man, this is phenomenal. You forget how good it is.
Their pork chop is amazing.
Pork chop is good, man.
Yeah, it's one of those special dishes that stand out. So you said that, but it's weird, man. I can go, eat at Lawrence Barbecue up there, and I can taste the smoke. It's different.
Sure.
Whether he's using the same wood, I don't know. It's in your head or what it is, but anywhere else I go, I can taste the smoke on other barbecue restaurants. But years back, I could set some aside, wait a couple days, and then I would taste it. If we're cooked on Saturday, Wednesday, I could taste it, but now it's embedded in my nose. So
So that's a good question. You've mentioned Lawrence a couple times. That's obviously Jake Wood.
Yeah.
That's out there. He's a good friend of. He's been on the show a couple times.
Yeah.
Actually, the last time we were over there, Adam Carolla, the radio guy, was in town. And we brought him to Lawrence Barbecue. We sat out there. We had the Durham Distillery guys. They batched out. I don't think we were supposed to bring a bunch of batched cocktails in jockey boxes, but we did anyhow. And we had a great barbecue board and gin and tonics, and we had an excellent little showing there. So I'm a huge fan of what Jake's doing. I think he's kind of knocking it out in the Raleigh area. What about the rest of the state? Give some mentions to some other people that are really doing it.
You can't mention North Carolina without Skylight Inn. That's
sure.
Quintessential North Carolina to the T. When I think of a barbecue pork sandwich, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, the Jones family.
The Jones family.
Yeah.
Sam, Michael, good dudes too. Sweet Lou's a good friend of ours in Charlotte.
Sweet Lou,
doing really good stuff. Even the guys over at Noble, Stewart, good friends of ours.
Oh yeah.
Always tries to come and meet us in Charlotte. That's one. Try to be friends with everybody, not tout we're the best or nothing.
When you're in Asheville, anything out there specific?
Man, I hate to say I have never ate at Buxton Hall.
Oh yeah, I've eaten there once.
Been a few times, man.
Yeah. What do you think? It's
I haven't been since Elliot left, man. Elliot left about a month ago. He's doing his own thing, but man, when he was there, they were doing incredible stuff, man. He made a
chicken.
No, it was a quail.
Oh.
He deboned a quail, stuffed it with barbecue hash, and smoked it, and it blew my mind, man.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what Elliot's going to do next, man. Just as a fire keeper and a chef, man, he's really
Yeah.
Matt Register.
Oh yeah. Gotta give love to Matt Register and Southern Smoke. Yeah. And in my new neck of the woods, in your hometown of Knightdale, you got Prime out there.
Prime Barbecue, Chris Prieto. Phenomenal barbecue.
Yeah.
Lexington Barbecue, Nate. Once you figure out the code how to order, it takes it up a whole other level. That extra outside brown little smokehouse sauce.
Wait, hold on. Just say your order. How would you do that?
Extra outside brown.
Extra outside brown.
That's what they told me, and I did it, and I was like, man, it was good, but it just took it up a whole other level.
Really? That reminds me of how I order when I go to In-N-Out in the West Coast.
Bingo.
You got to know animal style. You got to do 4x4 animal style. Oh yeah. That's the good way to go.
In-N-Out just wishes it could be like Five Guys or.
That's just
Take that out. Take that out. Take it out.
We're gonna cut that part. Yeah.
Fine.
I'm a Carolina guy. What do you do?
Yeah.
So like, where is like John G's going? If you think about like 5 years out, what do you think that looks like?
Man, honestly, we've never had a goal. You can't tell if you don't have a goal, right? But it's just by demand. More people show up and cook more food. We buy another warm, we buy another smoker. Already thinking about that next year. As long as people wear John G shirts, we're gonna keep doing what we do.
But that's a good point though, because the entrepreneur listening or watching this piece, however this comes out, you get the capitalists in America, and they're like, all right, cool, I see what you're doing here. Let's do 10 of them.
Yeah.
And let's do 10 of them all over the state and all that stuff. There's a huge barrier to that success. I mean, the quality control, obviously, number one, and then just the amount, sourcing is a huge thing. I imagine, I don't know, how difficult is it for you to always get access to the meats and all the products that you need just to keep this ship going?
Man, you never freaking know what's going to be on shortage. This week it was kosher salt.
Kosher salt was on shortage.
Salt.
Wow.
We don't have it next Monday. It's turkey this year, man. Turkey was. We're trying to set up pre-orders. We don't have it on the menu right now because we were reserved that for Thanksgiving. I mean, every week it's just something.
Oh, there's a silly battle with local Raleigh chefs, these young guys, about which kosher salt they use. You got the Diamond Crystal, and you got the Morton's.
Or the Morton's.
Morton's.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I think I don't know. I thought I personally was siding on Diamond Crystal, but it's all about the texture in the hand, right? You want to hold it. Is there any reason why you're choosing the Morton's specifically?
No, honestly.
It's just a crapshoot?
It was, it's just, tradition at this point. Yeah, that's what we started with.
Curtis, you're shaking your head a lot.
No, I'm Team Morton's. I'm a traditionalist. It's just certain things. I mean, I'm willing to be flexible with certain things, but when it comes to the salt and when it comes to my garlic powder and stuff like that, I have my staples.
Yeah,
With
creature habit. Kyle, where do you fall?
I'm a Diamond guy.
Yeah.
I found Morton's for me to be inconsistent. I want my kosher salt to be kosher salt. I've opened a couple of boxes of Morton's and I have kosher table salt. And that's not what I'm going for. I like a big granule, different strokes. It's preference. There's no right or wrong. I've used both.
Luke, you weigh in on this?
I can be bought. So whoever gives me the most, whoever gives you the most food for free, I side with them.
Yeah.
Looking for cooler sponsors, salt sponsors.
We'll take them all. Yeah, why not?
I would say, on that same note, man, I'm way more particular on pepper. Pepper is not a one-size-fits-all.
Really?
We're shipping 100 pounds from Texas. Fiesta.
Really?
Yeah,
Fiesta,
I love Fiesta pepper.
Where's that from?
What's that?
Where's that?
San Antonio.
It's actually a Texan pepper.
Yeah, it comes out of Texas.
Really?
I don't know where it's grown or anything.
Really?
Say it, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, man, you can smell two different peppers, black pepper, and just stark differences, man.
Okay.
I mean, there's mesh on top of that, but man, you can have floral notes, spicy notes. I mean, all across the board. But yeah, and then consistency-wise, Fiesta, man, it is definitely meshed out to the T. There's no dust on the bottom.
Taking notes over here.
Yeah,
we'll take notes.
I'll send samples home with it.
I've been using like a Malabar from Savory Company. It's a great pepper, man.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Boners Fiesta, man.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And just because this is a food and beverage podcast, I'd be remiss. I was trying to get you out here for Bubbles and Brisket we did last year, but timing is a little tough because Bubbles and Brisket.
I hear bubbles.
Yeah, as people want to know. So Matt is my counterpart on the podcast. We've done all of them together for the most part. Kyle's been on a couple episodes, both as a co-host and as a guest. But Matt and I are both sommeliers, and we've been we're big into wine. And when we have barbecue, of course, we're not talking about liquor laws or anything like that. We're just talking about what you drink. You're going to have sweet tea, you're going to have soda, but most of us grown-ups are going to have bourbon and we're going to have beer. That's what you have. But as Matt and I were saying, we're one of the greatest beverages of all time, and that blends itself to anything is champagne. Champagne just has this like nuance, it's kind of perfect in a lot of ways. It's acid structure, it's sugar levels. If you're dry champagne, still has a little bit of sweetness that's going to hold up really nicely, but the carbonation also really helps with like a big, meaty, fatty, sticky sauce and all. So we're big fans of that, and we'll be bringing you Bubbles and Brisket 3 next year. I'll put you on the spot. I have already guaranteed that you'll be there. You'll say you do it. We might have to pick a day that's not Saturday, though, as I'm now kind of judging and understanding that's kind of the big day for everybody. So we'll make a plan for that. But any thoughts as to like what you prefer to consume your brisket? It could even just be Miller High Life. I don't care. What's your favorite beverage with brisket?
Gotta go with Cheerwine.
Cheerwine.
Barbecue's best friend, man. Yeah, I like some Cheerwine.
It's another good sponsor.
Yeah. There we go, man.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, rock them next week.
Yeah.
Can't wait for all the phone calls.
It's very North Carolina, though, man.
Yeah.
I think like if you look at this idea of authentic cuisine, I think it's kind of a farce, right? Because people are doing really good food, man. They take, recipes that are rooted in a place and they bring them somewhere else and they cook in a way that's indicative to that region, man. Mm-hmm. And that's Cheerwine and beef ribs, man. That's what that is. It's beautiful.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, for those that aren't here, that need to get out here, where we have to go? How do we get over here? Where is this place again? Peachland.
There's only one in all of America.
It's the only Peachland in
The
America.
only Peachland in all of America. Yeah.
Because what they're missing out on, you can't smell what we smell.
Oh, my goodness.
How does it smell?
I don't know if you heard my several random comments. It was like, that smells good. Like, I got like one, I smell the brisket, and one I smell the wood.
Yeah.
And my goodness. Get out here now. That's all I gotta say.
And make sure that when you come, you gotta like come with a guy like Kyle, who's also gonna bring smoked wings and pudding and whatever, some coffee or whatever, and do that. But anyhow, as Matt would say if he was here, you go to John G's, you go to Peachland, you bring your friends, and you eat and drink merrily.
Right.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Thanks for listening to the NC F&B Podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.